Do I need a business permit? We're going to answer that question in this video. Okay, let's rock. Do I need a business permit? If you have a business or you're getting ready to get into a business, you probably, 99.9% of the time, yes, you need a business permit. But listen up. I want to talk more about permits and licenses to kind of help guide you as you're starting your first business. So hopefully you're going to find this information very helpful. So a lot of people confuse licenses with permits. They're close to the same thing, but usually when you're dealing with a permit, just think safety. You know, the city or the state, there's something going on that probably involves safety, and they're going to want to come out, send like a city official or a state official to come out, check on your business, and sign off on it. Just basically make sure that whatever you're doing, you know, say it's like a food permit or an occupancy permit or a build-out permit or something like that, they want to come and make sure that everything that you said you're doing correctly with a licensed contractor, you know, conforming to fire code and all this kind of stuff. So it's actually great that you've got cities and states that do this, because otherwise it'd be the Wild West. People would just rent out a spot, do whatever the heck they wanted to, overload an outlet, cause a fire, burn a building down, or do something like that. It's the last thing you want. So it's actually good that they do this. And I know for a lot of business owners, it's incredibly frustrating dealing with, you know, your city officials and your state officials and things like that. But I want to train you to just know that these individuals truly, they're not there to hurt you. I mean, there's obviously bad apples every now and then that just want to make your life miserable, but they're not there to hurt you and bother you. They're there to just do their job. And the city hired them or the state hired them to make sure that you and other business owners are following the rules, and mostly for safety. So just know that anytime you're working regards to like a permit, and I said something like an occupancy permit or something, imagine if, you know, too many people were in a business and something, you know, a fire caught or something like that. And because of that, a bunch of people ended up dying, right? So that's a serious thing. That's the reason that these permits are there, is to have this third party, right? The city or the state come out and check on your stuff. So usually when I open up a business, if I'm going to do any build out, I'll go out and I'll get an architect, because most cities, most states, they want to see architectural drawings of whatever you're going to do. If you're going to build walls, if you're going to add outlets, if, you know, is the building sprinklered? They want to know. And if so, has it been serviced? You know, there's a whole lot of things they want to know. So the best thing to do, if you want to do it right, is you go out and you hire an architect if you're going to make, say, changes, structural changes. And then they'll give you some kind of like a building permit or something to allow you to do that. But they're going to expect you and require you to have a licensed contractor. They don't want you just having your best friend from high school that does this on the side, right? Hey, he's a great guy and all, but he's not licensed. And what that means is if he gets hurt on the job or whatever, you know, the city could get sued, you could get sued, whatever. So you have to think about liability and how many possible things can hurt you by not following the rules. So again, the rules are there to help you out, get set up properly. They're going to sign off on it, and then you're good. And rarely do you get city and state officials that bother you. They've got so many businesses that they have to deal with. They're there only if there's really a problem. If you're not doing something right, they're usually very nice, and they're willing to work with you. If something's not working or whatever, they'll say, hey, you know, we'll give you 30 days to fix it. And if you've really been trying your hardest and 30 days isn't enough, call them up a lot of times or send them an email. A lot of times they'll extend it or something like that. So it's important to know that. But the short answer, we talked about, do I need a business permit? If you're talking about a business license, most businesses need a business license, but there are some cities that actually don't issue an actual official business license. It's rare, but I've actually had businesses in cities like that where you don't have that. But you have to get permits and licenses for so many other things. You know, you have to get your sales tax. Like I said earlier, the occupancy. If you're doing any build out, they're going to call it different stuff. There's going to have to be some kind of a permit to allow you to do any changes and things like that. So make sure that when you're setting up your business, that you're going through, you can even Google this, because there's so much great information about, hey, what permits, what kind of stuff will I need? You can actually Google that, and there might be one or two listed that you didn't think about. But the best thing to do is to call the city, call your local town, your local city, and ask them. Say, hey, I'm getting ready to get into a restaurant business. I always love using that example because there's so many different restaurants in the country and in the world. So this is probably going to apply to a lot more of you because I talked about a restaurant. But if you're getting into and you're going to start building your restaurant, say, hey, we're going to be opening up, this new restaurant, and I want to know what permits I'm going to need, what licenses I'm going to need. And they're going to go down the list. And they're going to say, oh, have you done this environmental one? Have you done your occupancy one? Are you going to be making any changes? You're going to put up any walls or whatever. You're going to need this. And then you're going to need an occupancy one. And we're going to have the fire department come sign off, and not the police department or whatever. But, you've got to get all your, in a restaurant, you're going to have your food permit, your drink permit. I mean, all the different stuff. But you're going to want to go down that entire checklist, because the last thing you want to do is have your staff hired, all your business processes set up, everybody's trained, you're all excited to cut the ribbon at your Chamber of Commerce grand opening ceremony, and then all of a sudden somebody shows up and says, hey, wait, you didn't have this signed off on, or you didn't get a permit for this, you can't open. And I know that there's businesses that have done that, and it's very costly because everybody's ready to go. So you got your payroll going, you're scheduling people, rent's already kicking in, utilities are already kicking in, and now you can't even open for business. And that can be catastrophic depending on your cash flow. So it's important, like I always like to talk about, plan for a business like a pilot plans for a landing. You never get on a commercial airline or on like Southwest Airlines. You never get on there, and then when you're going to your destination and you're getting ready to go and you're over the city, the pilot goes, oh, I guess we need to land now, right? No, they were planning that landing once they took off and they got settled to their altitude, the altitude that they're going to fly at for most of the flight. They're going to sit there and fly at that for a while, and then they already know where they're landing, right? They've already planned their landing. And the reason I like to utilize that example is because if you plan your business like a pilot would plan a landing, then you've got all your ducks in a row and you've got all your check boxes that you got to go down. And always utilize anybody you have. If you've got a mentor in your life, if you've got a few friends that already have businesses, go to them, give them a quick call and say, hey, I'm going to be opening in 30 days. What do you guys think? Is there anything I'm missing out on? I mean, I've got my occupancy permit, I got this permit, I got my business license, I got all my tax certificates registered with the state, I'm ready to rock, I've got my payroll set up. What am I missing? And you'd be surprised. They might say one thing and you're like, oh, geez, how did I not think of that? Or I didn't think of doing that. So anyway, the short answer, do I need a business permit? I'm going to say yes. But every now and then there's going to be probably some rare instance where there's always an exception to every rule. But in most cases, you absolutely need a permit, if not multiple permits, to open up a business. Okay, guys, so I hope you found this video very helpful. If you liked it, please subscribe. Don't forget to comment. If there's anything you'd like me to talk about, please put it in the comments. And again, remember, in business, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what is holding you back, you always got to push through, push hard, and be the hustler.